Hi guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. I am here with the lovely Eloise Marie and her handsome daddy,
Shaun Hover.
That's right, and some fake cats. So we're here today to tell you our engagement story.
This is kind of a long one. You may want to cozy up, sit down with a cup of hot cocoa, grab a couple of cats, put on a sweater. You know, when you're doing the ultimate romantic experience, there's a lot that goes into it. We all know that the engagement is like the big thing. You know, this is the Super Bowl, forgive my football terminology. It's the Super Bowl of romance.
Gators don't really like sports, stereotypically.
But we don't believe in stereotyping around here. The engagement story is the Super Bowl of football.
Super Bowl of romance.
It's the Super Bowl of football.
Clearly, he knows a lot about football.
When me and Jessica were dating and I knew I wanted to marry her, she had a tendency to every single married or engaged person she met, she would ask them, how did you propose? Yeah. What was your, and she would just soak in these engagement stories.
And
she would go online and search engagement stories. It was like she had, and so I knew like, oh man, if I ever propose to this woman, it's gonna have to be like way over the top. Yeah. Oh, you want some hot cocoa, honey? It's a little too hot for you. It took me about a few months into dating Jessica to realize I definitely want to marry this person. This is a no-brainer. When you're with Jessica Hover, it doesn't take a long time to figure out if she's willing to marry you, you better marry her. And it seemed that she would actually want to marry me. So I'm like, how can I marry this woman as fast as possible? And I thought I was going to have to wait for like 5 years because I'm like, I'm going to have to go back to college, and I'm going to go to Bible school, and I'm going to get a degree, and then I got to get a job, and then I got to make money, and then we can finally get married. And I was like, that sounds like a living hell.
Yeah, we were still in YWAM, that thing that we told you about in the How We Met video. And so we were on staff with them. And so yeah, we thought it was going to be a really long time before we got married.
Our society doesn't help you get married young.
No.
Because you got to go through all these hoops before you can finally get married. Yeah. But I was just praying, God, open up a door. Let me marry this woman already, will ya? And I just began talking to every mentor I have, every adult in my life, and I was saying, how can I marry this woman in less than 5 years? The cool thing is people kept encouraging it, and they're like, yeah, you need to marry her ASAP.
Yeah.
Let's make this happen. And God opened up an opportunity for us to join staff with Youth with a Mission, to start directing these discipleship schools, to send teams all over the world, and to live in our friend's garage. So we were like,
awesome.
Hey, this is possible. So I had to do what every good old-fashioned guy needs to do. I had to talk to her dad, get permission from dad to marry his daughter. Here's the thing, I'd never talked to her dad in my life.
Yeah, the first conversation with my dad was asking for permission to marry me.
Hello, nice to meet you. Can I marry your daughter, please? That's pretty much how it went down. It was terrifying. Steve Wilson is a great man, but he's also a very intimidating man.
Yeah.
And the good news is, he agreed. He said yes. He grilled me with a few questions, and I had some nicely prepared answers. Next thing you know, I was like, I just got dad permission. Talked to her grandma, because Jessica always was raving about this wedding ring that her grandma had. It's been in the family for like a million generations.
It was my great-grandma's ring and my grandma's ring.
All put together.
All put together.
By your great-grandfather.
By my grandfather, yeah.
All kinds of history with this ring. So I had her grandma mail this ring. Grandma mails the ring. She also sends me this bad boy. Happened to fit like a glove. So I knew I was on the right track. And then it came time, okay, I need to figure out how I'm going to propose to this woman. So I did what every smart guy does. I talked to her sister, and I talked to her best friend, and I said, help me come up with something awesome to be able to make this the most romantic thing that's ever happened in our lives. Her friend Becca and your sister Meredith, we all put our heads together, and we concocted a little something that amounted to our engagement story.
The greatest story ever. Okay, we had been dating for 8 months. We were living in California still. We were actually on staff with a discipleship training school, and it was 1 week before we were supposed to be leading a team to India. And so Shaun was really sweet and said that we should go on a date, one last date before we leave the country. It was on a Friday. It was like December 5th, I think.
Oh, somewhere in the range of...
Maybe. Shaun did a really cute thing. He asked Becca, who was my roommate at the time, to pick out an outfit for me that I'd be wearing that night. And so all I had to do was go back to my room and put on the clothes that were picked out for me, and then we were on the road, and what happened?
I forgot the ring. That's what happened. I thought it was in my jacket pocket in the back seat, and then when we were about halfway to the restaurant, which we were already extremely late for, and we were sitting in traffic for an hour because we were heading to the Rusty Pelican in Newport Beach. I look back in the back seat. My jacket is not there. The ring is not there.
It went like this. He's like, where's my jacket? I was like, I don't know. And it wasn't even cold. He's like, I need my jacket. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll look for it. So I'm hunting the back seat, and he's like, I need my jacket because my camera's in it. I was like, your camera's in your jacket? Like, when did taking pictures become a big deal? And he's like, I love taking pictures. We need to take pictures. Where's my jacket? So then he has me call Becca and tell Becca I need my jacket. And so I'm like, hey, Becca, Shaun needs his jacket. She's like, oh, okay, yeah, he does. He needs his jacket because of his camera. I'm like, you guys. So then we have to drive back to where we live.
We didn't drive back.
Yeah. We did.
We did?
And we ran into Conway 7. We drove back.
We had been on the road for an hour.
Yeah.
We turned around and drove back
Yeah.
to get my jacket.
Yeah.
Obviously something's afoot.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you know how I am about my jacket, honey. I just can't leave home without it. I don't want to eat dinner without my jacket.
And everyone's frantic.
So, all right, let's be honest.
Okay.
At that moment, did you know I was going to be proposing? Because obviously I forgot the ring in my jacket.
I hoped, I think. I don't think I knew. I think I hoped.
At that moment, I considered just saying, listen, the jig is up. Obviously, I'm proposing tonight. Let's just keep going through the motions.
Right.
But, you know, she somehow didn't completely catch on.
No.
We need to give the audience a few facts that they need to know about you.
Okay.
Because when you're dealing with romance, listen, guys, romance isn't just get her as many roses as possible. You need to know, everything has to be all about her. It's got to be personal to her.
Yeah.
You know, when you do something really romantic, she's going to say something like this. You remember.
He knows me.
See, you got to show that she is the one that you are trying to romance. So you got to get her favorite flowers. You got to go to her favorite place. You got to dig into every memory you have. So, you want to ride on a cat?
Okay.
Okay, the facts are these.
I love Santa. I may or may not have believed in Santa until I was like 17 years old, and I still believe in him now. Every year on Christmas Eve, Santa would call my house, and I would talk to him, and he was awesome. And he always said I had a really good year, and we always, you know, went back and forth about how we were doing. And then he would drop his hat in my yard. And so then I would go and find the hat in the yard. We would leave out milk and cookies. It was my favorite tradition. So I had this fantastic family. I'll tell you all of our story at some point. But the thing is, my parents divorced when I was young, and both of them got into new relationships. I was raised by two moms. And when I was like 16, the moms split up. Okay, that was the year that Santa stopped calling.
No.
So Santa stopped calling from roughly when I was 16 until now. You know, obviously I became a Christian and Christmas became everything. It's so much better. But I still have this tender place in my heart for Santa Claus. Okay.
She's obsessed with all things Christmas.
Yes.
Completely obsessed with lights and trees and Santas and presents and hot cocoa and you name it.
Sparkling stockings.
So, in Southern California, kind of wintertime, but not exactly the most Christmassy environment, but I knew she needed a Christmassy engagement. We went out to a nice dinner. We took a little trip where she thought we were going home, and
I have to tell them. And we're like sitting outside on this patio and we're looking out over the water and all these boats are there and they have Christmas lights on them. So I thought Shaun was gonna propose there. And then because he didn't, I thought we weren't getting engaged. And then he said, let's go back home and watch The Santa Claus because that's my favorite movie ever. So then I thought maybe we're gonna propose there. And then he said, do you wanna go for a walk on the beach?
because we like walking.
We like walking.
On the beach.
We do.
So we just parked the car in any old place. By any old place, I mean a place where she and I had gone on a walk when we were friends about a year prior. And as we got out of the car and started heading to this beach, she started freaking out because she's like, do you remember this beach? This is where we walked before. And of course I acted all aloof. No, I don't remember being here. What, we were here before?
Yeah, he really didn't. And he's so poker faced. I was like, wait, no. Remember. Like, we've definitely been here. And he's like, no, I don't remember.
So I was like, oh, cool, yeah, sure, yeah, I remember. You know, tried to act like I didn't remember, but acting like I did remember, you know, because that's what I usually do when I don't remember, is I try to pretend I did remember.
Yeah. We're walking onto the beach. It's nighttime and so pretty. And all of a sudden, in the distance, I see this Christmas tree set up on the beach, a real Christmas tree with lights and a blanket and fake snow presents.
Fake snow.
And then we're walking up and I'm like, oh my gosh, and there's Starbucks there. Then Shaun's phone starts ringing. Dun dun dun.
Who was it but Santa Claus himself?
Yeah, he's like, I think it's for you. And he hands me the phone, and on there it says Santa calling, and there's a photograph of Santa. And immediately I'm like, ah, no! And I answer, and he's like, oh, hi Jessica, and I'm crying. I'm like,
she's crying, she's in the fake snow, she's looking at the tree, she's on the phone with Santa Claus, she's in tears.
I haven't talked to you in years.
He told her she was such a good girl this year, and what else did Santa Claus do but fly his little sleigh over and drop his hat for her?
He said because he might not be able to drop his hat in India, so he would do it there on the beach. So I'm like, oh, I understand. So we're hunting on the beach for Santa's hat, and then
found Santa's hat.
Found it. It was awesome.
Love is in the air. This is the most romantic thing you've ever seen in your life. It's all happening, and she knows, obviously, at this point, I'm going to be proposing, because let's face the facts. We poured hot cocoa,
and then
a homeless man
walks up.
Comes hobbling up.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, this guy's walking up, and Jessica goes, should we give him hot chocolate? What do we do?
Then he whips the guitar around and starts playing Bella Notte from Lady and the Tramp when they're slooping the spaghetti.
Oh, this is the night, such a beautiful night, and they call it Bella Notte.
He wasn't homeless after all.
He wasn't homeless.
He was our friend, Michael Pulliam, who's an excellent musician. Okay, and then
I got on one knee. I said some things, probably like, I love you, I really love you a lot, and I want to be with you for the rest of my life, and yada yada yada. Will you marry me? Well, bam, crack it open, grandma's ring, in the thing, she's crying like a baby, romance flying everywhere, and then we open up presents.
It's
and
like Bridal Magazine.
Some champagne, a gift from your sister.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
and
Christmas gift from your
slippers.
sister.
Slippers.
Slippers and pajamas. Another Christmas tradition
Yeah,
of
in my
Jessica's.
family, every Christmas Eve we do slippers and pajamas.
I'm trying to say is I hit a home run with this proposal. Forgive my baseball lingo. Home run is when you hit the ball and it goes all the way into the audience.
And then all of our friends, or a bunch of wonderful friends, not all of them. Steve Robertson, Becca, my sister.
Every friend we've ever had came running out, and they were all cheering and giggling.
Kyle.
We laughed. Kyle Innes was there, Andrew Kiter was there, Steve Robertson was there, Meredith was there, Becca was there.
All kinds of friends.
You name it, they were there. And then we went back to Kyle's place, had a big party and celebration. Then a week later, we went to India for 2 months and led a outreach team.
We got engaged 6 months before we got married.
You want to have the shortest engagement possible. 6 months is kind of long, but when you're spending the first 2 months in India, you really only have 4 months. So we kept it nice and short. Let's bring Steve Robertson on the set. He was there when we met. He was there for the engagement. He was on our honeymoon, and he's right here, right now, with a cat on our fireplace.
I'm honored to be a part of this. These two, come on. They're the example, and I love them very much.
Thank you, Steve. Here, let's get
This is the night.
What a beautiful night. And they call, you're not singing.
Come on.
Bella Notte. Thanks for watching.
We love you. We'll see you next week.
Steve loves you.
Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see here, like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Snapchat and Instagram, and check out my blog. We make new videos here every week. Hey.
Oh, hey. Oh, where did we get these floating icon things?
Cool, I know.
Wait a minute, where's my Snapchat and Instagram?
Oh, there it is.
Put those up there.
All right. Thanks so much for watching.
Want some pizza?
Hi, cutie.
No, that's not for babies. Let's bring Steve Robertson on the set and get him to share a few behind-the-scenes moments. Steve, would you like a cat?
Sit in the middle.
Sit in the middle, Steve. Sit right. You got your cat.
Hi, everyone.
Hot cocoa can I
I'm glad I could be here. Because they were so late, you're not allowed on the beach. after sunset. Well, we were well beyond sunset, and the police patrol the beach. Now, if you were driving as a police officer and you saw a bright Christmas tree on the beach and a homeless guy and somebody standing there with a camera, you might think, I have to investigate. The police officer came and proceeded to kick us off the beach. I explained to him the importance of us being on the beach, and he was kind enough to let it go on. Also, I was in touch with Santa.
She doesn't know that part.
Yes.
It was the real Santa, Steve.
Yeah, I was in touch with Santa.
Okay.
I was letting him know when they were, because they were also running late. Santa didn't expect
Steve's
that.
got friends in high places.
Yeah.